Okay. So then you get to your permeability, and what did you come up with for permeability? Rapid. Anything else? That's tied directly to your texture, and if you have a moderately coarse, of course, there would be rapid permeability on that. Again, your permeability, when you're looking for that, generally you want to gauge your permeability off one of your subsoil horizons, the subsoil sample. We don't necessarily look at permeability on your topsoil sample.
Caveat, Joe, is that you have to watch your dredge pans to be on texture.
Correct.
To get permeability.
Yes, because the dredge pan would be also a restrictive feature, which would slow that down your permeability. Question on that? Okay, available water holding capacity. Does everyone know how to do your water holding capacity? Yeah. Yes. Okay, what did we come up with water holding capacity? Low. Any questions on that? What you have to do for your water holding capacity is you determine out, okay, what the texture is of your topsoil, how thick your topsoil is, and if it comes out to, help me out on this one, Carl, it comes out as moderately coarse, that's a 0.14 moderately coarse?
Yeah.
Correct.
So, all right, so if you have a 10 inches of topsoil layer, 10 times 0.14, that give you a 1.4 for water holding capacity down to 10 inches. Then you go down to your other horizon. If you have a coarse texture and you have 20 inches of a coarse is 0.05, I think it is.
Yes.
So that would give you another 1.0. So now you're up to 2.4. So what you got to do is kind of go down through your profile here and pick out where your different horizons are, determine what your textures are. Then you do those calculations and you add them all up, and that will give you your total water holding capacity. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you say the sites?
This one was low. And they had 0 to 13 was a moderately coarse, 13 to 23 was a moderately coarse, and then 23 to 40 was a coarse. So when you added them all up, it came up to 4.0, which is your yield. Any other questions on that?
Everybody remember those breaks? What is it? Less than 2 is very low. 2 to 4.5 is low. 4.5 to 7.
Medium 7.
Medium.
And 7.
And then greater than 7 is high.
Is everyone clear on that? Okay, erosion potential. That's potential for erosion. Where do we come up on that one?
Severe.
You got a moderate. You got a severe.
It's severe.
That came out as a moderate. And help you out on that one, Carl. What do we look on that slope?
That's the last one, item H, erosion potential, and that's the one you got to be sure and take advantage of the chart that we give you. It's on those capability charts, and it's simply a matter again of using the texture information that you've already determined, using the percent slope that you determined, and using the slope length off the information sign. You put all three of those together on the back of that chart, and it'll tell you what the potential is. In this case, since you had moderately coarse surface, and you came across and the slope was strongly sloping, and you looked on the sign, the slope length was 150 feet, less than 300, that threw you into a moderate erosion potential. If this would have been a medium textured surface, there would be a higher potential of erosion on a shorter slope. This would have been severe. But that's the impact of a moderately coarse textured surface on erosion potential. Does anybody, by the way, use those things?
What?
I don't see very many people use them. Good. Good. We're missing a couple.
Not you.
I use them.
Check those hands were raised. They probably got a copy in there.
Any questions on that? What's the question?
The first one up there should read past erosion. That's erosion that's taken place already. That's derived by measuring from the surface down to the pit and comparing that depth with the original soil depth that's given on the side. And if you've lost, what is it, less than 3 inches, it's slight. If you've lost between 3 and 8 inches, it's moderate. If you lost more than 8 inches, it's severe.
Thank you for asking that question. I went right over top of that one. No one else stopped. Erosion. Carl just explained it. The original was 40. We have 27 inches. The nail current, so we lost 13. That would put you into severe erosion. You guys let me go over top of that. Thank you for stopping it. Okay. Down to the last part there, land capability, major limiting factors. What do we got checked?
Permeability and available water.
Very good. Very good.
You want me to run through this?
Go ahead.
This is the point in the contest where you start your interpretations now. Basically, you've made your determinations on physical properties and characteristics. The first thing we do from the agricultural standpoint is to make an assessment of the degree of limitation and what the key limitations are out there on the landscape. Of course, to do that, we provide you a land capability class schematic diagram. I hope everybody uses that. If you've looked at it, know how to use it, it should guide you to the correct land capability class. First thing you have to do is identify the major limiting factors. When does one of these factors become limiting? Flooding or ponding. If we put on the information sign, if you look at the information sign, you saw that we had flood frequency. And on this one we put none. So you know you don't have a flooding or ponding problem. But if we put frequent, occasional, frequent or occasional on that flooding frequency, it would be a limitation. The only little sidebar to that is that we potentially could have a site that we would put rare flooding on it. That's an indication that would not be a limiting factor for agriculture and growing crops, but that would be a limitation for home site septic systems and other things like that, as you might imagine. Slope, anything greater than nearly level is a limiting factor. In fact, it's the key limiting factor from the standpoint of erosion out here in designating land capability class. Erosion, what this refers to is up here on item G, not item H. Erosion down here at the bottom refers to past erosion. If you've had a lot of severe past erosion, and that's the only time that you would indicate it as a limiting factor, if past erosion was severe. In this case it was, so you checked severe, or you checked erosion in this case. Depth. When is depth a limiting factor? Well, anytime the depth is less than deep. In other words, less than 40 inches. Depth to bedrock. Drainage class. When's it a limiting factor? Anytime that the soil is less than well drained. Moderately well, somewhat poor, or very poorly drained. You check drainage. Everybody's rumbling about excessive. A little birdie tells me that when it's excessively well drained that you don't check excessive, that you check low or very low available water and you check rapid permeability, but you can